so today I'm joined by Charles and John, and they will give us their experience. They'll tell us about how they set for their IELTS exam. So, guys, let's listen up. So, Charles, tell me, in about a minute, tell us about your experience with the IELTS exam.
My name is Charles Rukunga. Every exam is an exam. That is the first note I have as far as the IELTS is concerned. And the perception of which people partake it is really what almost made me lose hope in it, because it is perceived like it's an exceptional exam. Yet, as per my views, it is an exam like another that requires total preparedness, that requires total concentration, that requires fully participation so that you can make it. So my thinking is that every candidate for IELTS should partake this as an exam like another.
Thank you, Charles. So, John, tell us about your experience with the IELTS exam.
Okay, well, myself, it was a great experience. First of all, understanding what IELTS is made me to know that it's just like any other exam.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I came to learn that it's just a standardized test to assess one's English proficiency. And basically, it measures your skills in listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So for me, it was a great experience because I was motivated to do it.
Great. And so actually, guys, the reason why I called you here is because you both excelled in your IELTS exam, and you find that there are people who probably maybe not done well in the exam, and they tend to give up. So I want us to really just encourage them and tell them it's possible, really. So which skill for you, Charles, which skill did you find most challenging and why among the four?
I have two that were really very challenging to me: the listening and the reading. And the reasons are one, listening, you're getting the command from someone who uses the language as his own native language. Yet, on me as a candidate or as a student, my capability is based on my acquired traits as far as this language is concerned. That alone to me was a challenge, and created the fear of unknown, because I didn't know. Like, when you tell me to speak in my own native language, I'll rap it actually. But when the person I'm talking to, it might take some time, because the person has to learn this, has to understand, has to apply. So when it comes to listening, it is very challenging to the candidates now that they tend to get command from someone who has that language at the fingertip, yet you have acquired it. On the side of reading, the examiner may use simple language, extremely simple, and most of the candidates, they practice hand language in terms of reading. But now the answers, they may sound very similar. The paragraphs, and the questions, they tend to have, every paragraph seems like to have an answer of every question.
Mm-hmm.
So that trick is really like, if you are that fast running student who like you go through the questions, then you say like, I'll read and answer the questions, because I already have the question in mind. You tend to realize that most probably you mess, because you have read the question, you've read the first paragraph, and it's like the first paragraph has the answers of all the questions. So most of the students don't even go through the entire paragraph. And there's a likelihood the question you're answering with paragraph 1, the answer is in paragraph 4. That's one trick I realized, and I really wish to encourage all the students who may be taking this exam later after me, not to make 4 simple mistakes like I was about to do, because I realized this when the time had already gone, and I was almost to lose. And actually, I did not do very well in my reading because of those mistakes. You already commanded the system. I did a computer based. You've already given an answer. You've gone to another page. By the time you realize you missed in the first question, it's already too late. So I would encourage the student, in as much as you're going through the question first, please keep that question at the back. Go through the first wrap up of the entire phrase, then come back now where you're getting answers gradually.
Okay.
That's my take.
Thank you. So, yeah, John, tell us which skills were the most challenging for you?
Wow. Yeah, I agree with what Charles has said. For myself, the most challenging skill, it came from the speaking. I know the challenging skills may vary from one person to the other, but my speaking, it was terrible. Surprisingly, I got a good score.
You performed very well in the speaking.
Yeah, I scored. I got about 7.5.
7.5, yeah.
So I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And because you see, with speaking, you are communicating real time with someone, with an examiner who is on the screen and who is asking you questions continuously, and you're expected to just be there like a computer and respond promptly.
Yes.
So it was a challenge because I went there, I started well with the introduction, my background, my name. But when a technical question like SMEs, the small, medium enterprises came in, now that was technical. I had to think like a student back in school or a professional somewhere. And I would say for those students out there who are planning to take this test, Joy, you taught me one thing.
Yes.
Don't be quiet. Just speak.
Just keep speaking.
Because just speaking continuously, it creates a conversation and you have a sense of belonging. So I think that helped me because in task 2 of the speaking, this guy tested me and the examiner paused for a little bit. I also paused for a little bit, but when I remembered that I should continue speaking, I think I responded immediately. And I spoke and spoke.
Until
some few mistakes, you repeat, you reconstruct your sentences, but finally I finished.
I remember you calling me actually and telling me that you think you failed your speaking because he was stopping you all the time. And it's never a big deal. Sometimes people stop you because they realize that this guy can converse. So it's never a big deal.
But it was like I was scared that I don't know how to speak fluently, coherently. And this is a native in English. Yeah. So for me, that was something that I was freaking about. So one thing that maybe I would advise those who are planning to take the test is maybe they should just be you. Just speak.
Just speak. Just be natural, speak. Right?
Yeah, natural.
Great. So now to you, Charles, in a minute, just what advice or tip would you give to anyone preparing for the IELTS exam? What is your advice? Just one.
First of all, it is important to get conversant to this, to understand what is IELTS. And you cannot understand this by your own. Because even there's a likelihood some students go to the exam having not known the actual meaning of IELTS. They know it in English.
And that is the fact. International English Language Testing System.
Yes, so most of the students don't even know that up to the time they are doing the exam. 2, I would wish to let every student who partakes this to possess an open mind to the examiner, because you coming to be taught about this and you have flocked your mind. You have actually engulfed yourself that this is what I want, everything should come here. So even when the trainer explains what to do and how to do, you're thinking like whatever the trainer is giving you is the actual exam, and that's why people fail.
Sure.
Yet the trainer is giving you the guidance on how to go your practice as far as this is concerned. And I found it wise to let the candidates partaking the IELTS exam to possess that open mind and be ready to learn. The second point to finish, sorry for the time, is to request all the students to refrain from any distractor. Because people fail not because they don't know. They fail because they listen. So when you listen to the background people, or the associate notes to you, there are times they find this feeling, even you take a lot of time listening to the guide there, do this, do that.
You will go in with a lot of pessimism.
Exactly. So I would like to advise every student partaking in IELTS to
avoid distractors.
And to go to the exam room with the mind that I'm going for the exam and I have to pass. They should be optimistic. That is the correct one. They should be positive about this. Like you don't have to fail. You have to do it. If anything, you've paid for it. I don't think there's anyone who can just pay to fail. So if you're not paying to fail, why should you have the mind of failing either way? Do it knowing I have to make it and do your best. Sure.
I remember teaching both of you about persuasive language and how important that is. So, John, even before you give us your tip, please tell us maybe one of the persuasive techniques that really stood out for you, that you thought was very important for you to use in your speaking test.
Yeah, actually, a student with a good persuasive language tends to score high in the IELTS. Because, like, for example, in the writing task part 2, you are given an essay to write, and you need to portray or give your argument in a persuasive way that will make the reader enjoy the reading and also find meaning. So for me, I would say that with the persuasive language, just use the right vocabulary, construct your sentences in the right way, and if you are not, just read. There are a lot of things. Read magazines, read newspapers, read stories online, so that your mind can always be ready. Because I realized that, like 4 days to the IELTS, I started reading magazines and newspapers, and I realized, like, I started gaining the persuasive techniques.
Yes, which you had talked about, the forest going down, we said the triple.
You taught the intonation.
Language.
Exactly.
Because I think for you to persuade someone, you have to know how to talk to them, right?
Yeah, you see, to add on that, when you talk of persuasive, we like talking of 3 things here. Like you have to convince, you have to influence, and then you have to articulate with flow.
Exactly.
It's not much about the vocabulary, if I may say so, because one, you may have so many vocabularies and then lack flow. You need to bring, for example, when you're talking about an essay or a letter writing, at the back of your mind, you know what a letter means. If it's this essay, you have a title, you know exactly what you want in it. So, first of all, try to give a narrative that will be so sweet, the flow will let the examiner follow, and then won't be concentrate on the wordings, the other things. I would wish to let the student to ensure, like, if you're writing, there are things that are must do.
Yes.
How you start a sentence, how you put down your nouns because they're known, how you need to put your punctuations, the commas and other things. Then ensure you don't start your letter at the middle. If it's an official letter, if it's there's the set standard of that letter. Have it in mind. These are things that we did while we were back lower primary school. But now, to my surprise, you've been tested at them at old age like myself.
And you're wondering why.
Because every now and then the things we do, we just like talking. We rarely put them down on paper and pen. So if it comes to this point, consider that you have to convince the examiner to know that you know. 2, ensure you influence that particular examiner to follow your work. And finally, arrange your work, articulate very well, let's have flow, that each paragraph should have a reflection of the first, so that by the time you are at conclusion, the examiner is still interested to know what next.
What exactly?
Yeah, that's my take.
That's super. Thank you very much. And it's important that you note, Charles, that people would concentrate on vocabulary and all that, but then they forget the basics, which is the spelling, punctuation, and grammar.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
a
remember
student
you,
like that.
I remember you putting more effort on that when I had the class with you.
Yeah.
Because I did not manage to meet you one-on-one, but every time I talked to you, and you like, Charles, understand the subject matter of everything.
Yes.
Understand the basics of, the writing, because that was actually writing, and you like, in your prepared, can you differentiate the types of nouns? Can you know how they use? Can you place them the right way?
You're wondering why now?
I was like, you're telling me things that I did verbs again and I'm now, and like it's long since I did them in the lower primary, in the primary school levels. I was not finding it really very, very
pleasant, but then you had to do it.
But I had to do it.
Yeah,
because
in life
either way, I didn't know what I'm going to face.
True. In life we say, Charles, you have to do what you have to do for you to be able to do what you would want to do.
Oh yes.
And like I know in high school, I never used to like math per se because I studied and it's not happening. But then I have to do math, So sometimes you have to do. That's you. Okay. So John, please just give us one tip for guys preparing for their IELTS exam. Just one, because I remember, even before you go there, John, I remember the very last day when we were preparing, I was so scared because I was thinking, now John, reading, he's not able to finish his work in time, and I'm scared tomorrow's exam. What are you going to do? So please, you managed to finish your reading, and actually you got a, what?
7.5.
Super, you see?
Yes.
Yeah, but I was so scared for the reading because you were not able to finish. So please give us a tip, something.
Okay, so first of all, I will say practice is important. Practice a lot, and it's also very important to have a tutor to just give you those ideas and tips on how to tackle this exam, because sometimes we have very many resources online, but you need that person to show you the way, to correct you on a personal level, and also identify some of the loopholes. Like for the reading, we struggled a lot. I started from about 5.5.
Yeah.
And I finished at a higher score, 7.5. So for me, I would say that practice a lot, and also consider several skills like time management skills.
Super.
Because that time is limited, and these people, they know the time they've given you. If you don't use it well, it will go wasted. So for example, now the reading, what I did is, when I received the questions, it was computer based. I was timing myself. 1 minute, I used 1 minute to go through all the questions. Then on the essay itself, I had to be fast, because it's also important actually to know your weaknesses. Where do they lie? And work on them before the exam. Because once maybe you are with a tutor, you are practicing, you'll know, for me, this particular part of the IELTS exam, I can do well if I correct this. So I realized that in my reading, I was spending a lot of time reading the essay. I'm trying to understand.
Yes, like I told you, don't try to understand. Please don't dwell on the story, dwell on the questions, because it's about you answering the questions.
Yeah. The stories, sometimes actually you may find a very interesting story.
And that's a trap, following
that is a distraction, because you're glued to the story.
That's what I was talking about. Yes.
Exactly, Charles.
So I'm happy
what I did, Joy, when I got this question, I read the first paragraph, all of it first. All the other paragraphs, I was reading the first sentence only. The second paragraph, first sentence, up to where the full stops end. Like that. Then when I reached the last paragraph, I read the last sentence, because I assumed it was summarizing what is happening in the story. So I actually did 30%, and 70% I left when I'm answering the questions. It saved me a lot of time.
I'm happy that, by the way, for both of you guys, because John, it was IELTS Academics and Charles was IELTS General, that you guys did well. But then again, also it's about your effort and your hard work. Because again, it's not just about, you can work with a tutor, but then there has to be your own input. Because I remember we had calls at night with you, Charles, and John, but then we had to do what we had to do.
You can imagine in 3 hours and you're on airtime and you're doing it. At some point, Mwalimu was like, can I just drop the call and call you myself?
Yes.
It was so sympathetic to me. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Well, you really minded me.
Yes.
But you did the best. See, to add on what Jonas said, my brother here, there's also one thing that I would really urge students partaking this not to have, that is overconfidence. Personally, I know I failed reading because I was like, how can I something I can read here, reading and answering? It could not all go well with me like I can fail this. But actually, that's where I went wrong because I got 6 and
for the reading.
Actually, it's the one I got least, and this was because I knew I have to, and the speed of answering, like I was talking earlier on. You read the question, and then you go to the answers, and you're like, oh, the answers are here, and then you've answered, your questions are already over in terms of answering, but it's still because the story is a little bit pleasing, you find yourself reading it, and by the time you're in the last paragraph, you realize, no, I did not answer well the second question. So going back became a challenge, then going forward is also a challenge, you get confused, and that is what I was talking about with Trementous. You mess up with your time well, and then once you mess up, it becomes a little bit challenging. The other bit, I realized, if you rush, you'll have made so many errors.
Don't rush.
Don't rush. Take your time. You'd rather answer out of the 40 questions, you'd rather answer 20 correctly.
But you can't leave blanks. That you know.
But at least once you're sure, I've done this to perfection. You can paraphrase. The challenge we have in the computer-based exam is like you can't go up to the last page and then come to the first page. You're worried because there's something new. You don't know, like, if you prompt the system to go to the next page, whether there's a likelihood of going back to the previous page. So one disadvantage of computer, you have to go with the exam as it is. You have to follow the sequence as it is. But if it's on the other paper, maybe you can go up to the last page and come back again. But now this one, you have to follow the flow. And you may realize the last page, which has got, for example, question 30 to 40, they're very simple. And now the first question, in question 1 to 10, it's a little bit tough. So you may waste a lot of time here with the fear of clicking to the next page. And then you realize time has gone here. And it's actually, those who are doing the computer-based exam, they should also remember to look at the icon that is showing time. It's very important. If you don't look at the timer, then you mess up with your time.
You mess up
with your time.
And I love that, by the way, thank you so much, John and Charles, for coming over, because there are people who are struggling and they failed, and some of them will call you and they tell you, I think I've given up. What do they think that I don't know this English of theirs, But then I think it's very important for you to give them these tips. So I'm very happy for that. But really, that takes me to the second last question, and we can just take a minute answering this. You both chose the computer-based exam. So John, why did you choose the computer-based exam instead of the...
So for me, actually, I find using the computer more comfortable than paper-based. And also, I just like, that's what I've been using. I can't remember the last time I went on paper. Okay. So from the word go, I think you can remember, I was more interested in the computer, but at the same time, I was looking forward to you guiding me and telling me maybe do use this or this. But finally, I chose it because even when I was doing the exam, I realized that it was, to me, it was easy. The interface was friendly.
Okay.
And maybe just, I don't know, but maybe, I don't know how the general is, but for the academic, you can actually go back in the computer-based.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what
You
Charles
can.
says. Why do you think, why did you choose the
see,
computer-based?
before, yes, my friend had just talked about he doesn't know how the general is.
Yeah.
Remember, sometimes I talked about the fear of unknown, sorry for that.
Yes.
And here it's you and the computer.
Yeah.
And the guides there, the way they are teaching you, it's like the thing you're going to do or to face is really something between life and death. You know?
Sure. True.
They're not friendly.
Yeah, they
Some.
not friendly. They're creating that environment to be a little bit hostile, which I don't think is really okay. It's part of exam, of course, because when you go, probably we do these things with the mind of working abroad and working to countries that require this. And of course, when you get there, there is the issue of the culture shock. You know, like you meet people that you don't know much about them, the new experiences and new cultures, and so on and so forth. But you see, my challenge came in. I did not try because in the first place, you're given a condition: sit there, don't do anything, don't prompt until you're given a go ahead. So there's the first paper. You've just entered in the room. You've taken possession. Is everyone settled? Yes. There are rules in this room: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So among the rules that you get, don't do anything to that computer until you're told. Here they've told you to do something. You've started the first page. The page is over down here. So blindly, you're there waiting for the second command to go to the next page. Your time is running, you see. So I found like there's a bit of hidden message that needs to be elaborated further, because based on other exams that we have done previously, the examiner tells you you are now free to do your paper as you wish.
Charles, why did you choose the computer-based exam?
I chose the computer-based, first of all, because it has reduced errors. Personally,
I agree.
not like I love computers most because I've interacted with them my work. But while I was in school, I did not have the opportunity. Yeah. So it has reduced the errors. And then when you do writing, literally I knew writing is paper and pen, and handwritings are funny. I can write things, sometimes you write this, and based on the speed, you may not have that neat work. I needed neatness. So I chose computer because I needed my work to be neat.
Also, Charles, on the same point, you reduce, as you have said, you reduce the errors.
Yeah.
Because in the computer-based, the process is very quick.
Yes.
But in the paper-based, you find after finishing the test, you transfer the answers on paper. They give you 10 minutes
to transfer now the answers.
So I find that it's not an efficient process.
It's not for you guys.
I also found it's a little bit tedious.
People choose the paper-based exam.
I realized I don't need to know, like, to be worried of the person who marked my paper. This is system.
Sure.
If it is system, if I know, the system will take for me.
Yes.
If I don't know, I don't know. I have failed. That is the fact. Because, we possess that private thought in every human. And I don't know what will be the mood of the person marking my paper.
That's your scare.
Yes, that was my fear. But this one, I know this is the system. I don't need anyone. I just need to put things in the system. The system has been given a command.
It's automated.
Out of this, you get this. So it just
that's for the writing, though.
Yeah, but
that's for the writing.
For the listening.
Let me say, even for the
but for the listening, they're writing wrong answers. So it's the same thing.
For sure.
It's just for the writing.
Yeah, but you see also, that was my layman language thinking. That was my private thought. That's how I thought about it, because I was like, if it's about writing, I'm not very sure of the person who marked my paper because I thought like writing, it means then you've done the paper, there will be no other people to mark the papers and then they will combine and they'll do this and do that. I was like, what if the person who read my
Is
paper
moody.
is moody that particular moment?
Yes.
Or what if my writing will not
Oh, didn't have breakfast.
Oh yes,
That's what John is saying.
some of these challenges.
Yeah.
So I felt no, I'm gonna take.
You have to go with the computer.
And it's also, it takes less time to get results.
Oh yes.
Yes.
So I'm like,
after 4 days.
For how long?
You got your
I'm
results?
like, for how long should I keep on waiting for this thing I don't know?
How many days for the paper base?
Let me reduce. It's
13 days.
13, and here I have 4 days.
Yeah.
So let me suffer only for 4 days. Then I'll be able to know where
What
I
you got,
belong, what I got,
you scored.
and I also love the principle. What I know, I know. What I don't know, I don't know until I am informed about it.
Good, that's super. You guys rock. Now, Mr. John, tell us, what is your parting shot? You may give maybe a tip on, how to pass your IELTS or something.
Yeah.
So what is your parting shot? Just to...
So, thank you, Joy. Thank you for your mentorship in this IELTS test.
You're welcome.
For me, I would say that this exam, it may sound challenging, but it's also a rewarding experience.
Okay.
Because it tests different skills that generally we may know them. Listening, writing, reading, speaking. Yeah, so maybe I would say with good preparation and practice, any student can pass this exam. And for any student who is planning to take this test, maybe a few tips. First of all, prepare well. Use the available resources that you have, the mock tests, use tutors, reach out to your tutors, the tests they give you, the homework, just go through them, understand what they're saying. And also, always remember to understand the format of the test. Because if you go into the test blindly, you'll waste a lot of time because it will be something new for you. So understand the format. I'm going to start with the listening, followed by reading, then writing, then speaking. So you are mentally prepared. And also, if you are doing academic and if you're doing computer-based, the format is very important because I was lucky to understand the format the day before the exam. So I knew this is what I'm going to face. After this part, it is this part. So it's very important. And also, remember to use the time management skills well, because time is actually a major contributing factor to your success, because you'll have to balance how you're answering the questions and using your time in the right way. Finally, my parting shot and a tip is, on the exam day, do not be scared. Do not freak out. It's just take it as a normal day. Have breakfast, be energetic, and go there knowing that you are going to pass. And also, don't let anxiety take the toll on you. Because when anxiety creeps in, trust me, you are going to fail. Because like the listening, the first question, I failed, I'm sure. Because they were asking me about an address. They give you an address and a particular funny name. So as they were reading the letters, I got confused some.
You said the address.
Yes, I only wrote that.
But remember in the instruction, they said, don't mind about the address. There was that instruction. I remember I also went through that.
Oh,
yes, but
probably did the same.
Is also quick because I realized there is an instruction here. Forget about the address, just go straight.
So after answering already this speaker in the listening test is in question 2, and I realized, I've missed this. So if I was anxious, I would have missed
everything else just because you think I failed number one.
True.
So I decided to focus on the next. And funny enough, I scored about 7. Maybe
for the listening.
And I really know if I would have performed well in that question one,
Everything else would have
everything would have gone so well.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
So
All the best and
Great.
yeah.
Thank you so
Congratulations,
much,
you did
John.
the best.
Okay, so Charles, please give us some tips for IELTS. Just your parting shot, really, because you've given them tips throughout.
To me, I've got just, I'll be very brief, that the end of the journey is the beginning of another.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean like you meet and then end, you still are crying. Because either way, you cry, you don't cry, it's the dead end. You have to make decisions, prompt decisions, either turn right, left, or go back.
Yeah.
So mistakes are there. People do mistakes.
Yeah.
And they've done. I've also done mine. I've shared the experience here. The moment you realize you've done a slight mistake, don't dwell too much on that. If you're not able to correct it instant, move to the next. At least save time for other simple questions.
Sure.
Also, like my colleague is talking about overconfidence and the anxiety. I may not say like him.
Yeah.
The fear is there. It will be there because what you're going. I won't lie to my fellow students who sit for this that there is no fear.
Yeah.
You should rest assured there is fear, but don't let the fear to control you.
Yes.
Because of course, in life, even when you're going to present, we presented things, like you presenting a thesis or something else. There is that issue of what will happen because what is ahead you don't know. So there will be fear. But please manage it. But if you let the fear to manage you, then you die. That's the point.
Sure.
The other thing is, it is believed even biblically that blessed are they that believe and they have not seen. So always be positive, like we talked about optimism. I'm going to do this and I will pass. Because one, we are so indulged into the confidence of I have done these things from the time I was a young child and now I'm a grown up. I have everything. You communicate using the official languages every day. You speak English probably. You write memos in the offices. You communicate through letters. You can text messages in the phones and the emails. It's all about writing. So like I was asking you, what is it in writing? And actually, I think this is why I did not even do it the best. I was so rigid to Malay. I could not understand what is it that she's going to teach me that I don't know as far as writing, reading, speaking. I could not rhyme well with this. But I want really to encourage my good friends. Don't assume. Look for a tutor. Not necessarily Joyce. Your choice, Me, I went to Joyce because I saw something in her. So you look for a tutor. I don't know. But please, there is much more besides what you've read, besides what you've been writing, besides what you've been listening and because this is like a blank page you're given and you can choose to write from any corner. But the good thing with a tutor, you will be guided on how to approach that blank page. So most of people who are taking this paper, they're not failing because they're fools. They're failing because either way, they did not follow instructions. They had no guide to tell them what happens and what goes on there. At least when you have a tutor, you will be able to have some flow. Sometimes we look at whatever we are paying a tutor like it's too expensive, but when you look at whatever you pay for the test and the filling, I think the cost of filling is more expensive than having a tutor. That is what I have, and my good friend and viewers of this video understand that blessed are they that have not seen but have believed in it, and that's how we will inherit the kingdom of heaven. Shalom.
Wow. Thank you guys. You guys rock. That was really nice. So our viewers are very, very happy about Charles and John because they actually passed their IELTS. John, IELTS Academics, and Charles, IELTS General, they're both planning to travel. And so it doesn't matter. You could have failed your IELTS once, twice, thrice, but then it doesn't harm for you to actually just go and do it again. Just try and do it again. It's gonna happen for you. And with the tips that we had today, I'm sure you're going to do well in your IELTS exam. So really, just to wish you well in your IELTS preparation exams. Guys, thank you so much. Bye.
That's okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
All the best. Great.
Thank you so much.
Shalom, shalom,
Yes.
shalom.